Hello everyone, I'm Meteorologist Charlie Ironmonger. Thank you so much for joining me today for your 3 p.m. news and weather update from the First Alert Desk. Now, we've got news out of Kinston where police are asking for your help in solving 2 unsolved murders. Today marks 19 years since Gonzalez Harmon was murdered and 14 years since Norris Cobb's death. Harmon was shot on September 24, 2006, just after 9 p.m. in the 900 block of East King Street. She was taken to what was then Lenore Memorial Hospital, where she died from her injuries. Police say there are no known witnesses and her attacker has never been identified. 5 years after Harmon's death, Cobb was shot in 2011 on the 300 block of North Rochelle Boulevard. Despite first responders' efforts to save him, Cobb died at the scene. Kinston Police remain committed to finding answers and seeking justice for Gonzalez, Cobb, and their loved ones. If you have any information related to their murders, you're asked to call the Kinston Police Department at 252-939-4020, or you can reach out to the Lenore County Crime Stoppers line at 252-523-4444. And now we want to turn to a report from Jay Gray on the shooting that happened at a Dallas ice facility earlier today.
Well, we've got an update on exactly what's going on here in Dallas with the shooting at an ICE detention facility here. I can tell you that 2 people are dead at the scene. One of those, the gunman, who apparently turned a weapon on himself, and the other we haven't had identified at this point. We know that 4 people overall were shot. What we've been told by local law enforcement is that none of those who were shot are law enforcement, either federal or local law enforcement officers. So still waiting some confirmation on that. We know that this happened in the early morning hours, and the shots apparently fired from a rooftop next to this facility that is really an area where it's a field office. They bring people in for booking and then move them once they are arrested, or it's where other immigrants come for regular routine check-ins. And so that was happening this morning as well. We are told from inside the facility there was chaos as the shots rang out, panic. A lot of people there, a lot of families there, so a lot of people worried about what was unfolding. We also know that this is the second attack on an ICE facility in this North Texas area within the last several months here. FBI continuing the investigation here along with Dallas police. Will continue to monitor things as well. For now, though, that's the situation here in Dallas. I'm Jay Gray, NBC News.
Thank you very much, Jay, for that report. We now turn to your weather forecast. Things are looking sunny right now across most of eastern North Carolina. Coming up later on Friday and Saturday, we're going to be looking at a little bit of a different outlook, at least a different view through our Morehead City Cam. Right now, 83 degrees, comes with a southerly breeze at 10 miles an hour. Dew points, though, those have come up significantly, noticeably over the past 2 days. Yesterday, we saw the beginning of the jump. Today, we're finishing the jump, and that has put our dew points, again, well into the 70s throughout most of eastern North Carolina. That's making 83 degrees in Morehead City feel more like 89 degrees. So if you're wondering, all right, is it just hot at my house? No, it's hot everywhere. Right now, New Bern, 88 degrees, feels like 93. When you factor in that 70-degree dew point, southerly wind bringing in that added humidity at about 6 miles per hour. Now, we're not seeing much of a sea breeze front right now. Do see an opportunity for maybe a few scattered showers around the mainland Dare County area. Not a ton to really track, though. Everything, again, right now just looks like some cloud cover moving overhead. As far as your air temperatures go, currently seeing the upper 80s to low 90s across many inland areas. As you do get closer to the water, though, you're looking more at the low 80s, 82 degrees in Manio. We've got 80 in Oriental, 83 degrees in Beaufort, as well as Hatteras. It is, again, toastier, though, as you get closer to I-95. As far as your 24-hour temperature change, just about everyone reporting air temperatures warmer than where we were 24 hours ago. A lot of that has to do with the additional sunshine. It also has to do with this on your screen, your winds out of the south. A southerly breeze traditionally brings in more warmth and humidity, and Well, it's not disappointing right now. It is certainly bringing in more warmth and more humidity as dew points over the past 24 hours across most of eastern North Carolina have risen, and in some areas have risen significantly. Look at Goldsboro, central Wayne County, a 20-degree rise in dew points over the past 24 hours. And Dominique O'Gorman said it best, summer holding on for dear life. Couldn't agree more. It is clawing at our forecast, saying, don't forget about me. We won't, certainly not today, and we won't forget about summer tomorrow, as again, we'll be holding on to these conditions through Thursday. But Thursday night into Friday, we've got a cold front that'll roll into the east and stall along the coast, kind of eliminating the threat for severe weather with that stalling action. But the problem is we won't be getting the cooler and drier air behind that front fully into eastern North Carolina until that cold front pulls its way off of our coastline. Having the boundary set up right over you doesn't really do you a whole lot of good if you're hoping for, again, the cooler and drier air behind that front. You got to get the whole thing off the coast. Here's a picture of where it's going to be coming up for tomorrow morning at 9 a.m., pretty much draped over the mountains. And then from there, the mountains are going to do a good job of chewing up a lot of the moisture associated with that system, and then it's just going to slowly work its way over the east, coming up late Thursday evening into Friday morning. Then it's going to stall, hitting the brakes right as it reaches our coastline. That will keep rain in the forecast for your Friday, Saturday, and certainly for at least the start of Sunday. But before we get too far into Sunday's forecast, we do need to highlight the tropics, because Sunday's forecast could depend on where these two systems are going and how they're going to interact with each other. The system on the right, the X you're seeing on your screen, that has a 90% chance of tropical development over the next 48 hours. Next name up on the list is Umberto, followed by Imelda. And the system a little bit closer to Puerto Rico, that's the one that I think is going to potentially impact eastern North Carolina. Now, how great those impacts are, still yet to be determined. But for right now, again, I would tell people to understand that the wet and soggy conditions we're going to see on Friday and Saturday may carry over into Monday and Tuesday, possibly Sunday of this upcoming weekend, and then to the start of next week. Certainly something, again, to keep an eye on. Hurricane Gabrielle, right now, it's moving out. Easterly movement, 26 miles an hour. That is a system that is racing away from eastern North Carolina. It is, again, going to be one of those systems that we're not really going to have to worry about at all from here on out, but because it is the only named system in the Atlantic, I do want to at least give it a bit of a shout out. Now again, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, we've got the Watching the Tropics designation on those days. Rain chances and your temperature profile is really going to change depending on the track of that area of concern that's over Puerto Rico right now. Over the next 2 days, it's really going to be heat, humidity, followed up by a cold front that will lead us into a wet and soggy Friday and Saturday. And then from there, we keep our eyes trained on the tropics. Currently anticipating, if we were to see a system impact eastern North Carolina, I do right now think that most models are suggesting that this is going to be a system that won't have a whole lot of time to really get together and to intensify. The problem is that the area it will be intensifying over is very shallow water. You're looking again at shallow water over the Bahamas and the Turks and Caicos island chain, and the more shallow the water is, the warmer it is. There's less water for that sun, the solar radiation, to really heat up. So when you have shallower water, you have warmer temperatures. And when those systems feed off of warm sea surface water, that kind of plays into that fact. So I do want everyone to know that we are keeping in a close eye on this system. We're continuing to watch it every single update as it comes in. But right now it does not look like an answer is clear. But I don't anticipate this thing blowing up in strength like we just witnessed with Gabrielle over this past weekend and into the start of this week. It was a Category 1 hurricane at the beginning of last weekend, and then it quickly grew to a major hurricane. I'm really hoping that does not happen with our system. That may impact us, but you know, only time will tell. Yeah, Dominico Gorman, so storms Thursday and Friday is just rain and some wind, but nothing severe. Right now, that looks like the case, Dominique. We could certainly hear some rumbles of thunder as well, some lightning strikes going along with those thunderstorms. But for now, yeah, it's one that the sooner we get that cold front, really the further that cold front gets off of our coast, the better it will be for us, because it'll bring in cooler air. It'll bring in less humidity, and it'll get us back to that autumn feel that I know we've been looking for. Also, if that cold front again holds on to its strength and moves offshore, it could act as a little bit of a block or a redirecting opportunity for that system down in the Caribbean. Now, we'll be back with more news and weather coming up at the top of the hour. Until then, I hope you all have a wonderful Wednesday.